So welcome to my very first stream. The audio might not be great because I'm recording everything with my webcam, which is not great. I'll probably need a bigger and better microphone for it. But anyways. So I'm hearing from someone that the audio is good enough. That's awesome. So what I'm going to do on this stream is draw the AXMANIAC, which is the character of my own comic, which is now on Kickstarter, so go pledge. I didn't want to draw like a normal version of him. I drawn up a rough sketch here, and I'm going to draw like, how they call it, the chibi version of him. So he has a huge head and a very tiny body. The setup I'm using, I'm just drawing in Photoshop. I have my layers here. I got one brush, which is the Kyle's Mr. Natural brush. It's really good. It really, it really looks nice and rough, like you're drawing with a pencil, basically. I use it for practically everything, except coloring. I have my laptop here so I can watch the chat screen if someone wants to ask me anything, and I'm just gonna draw, see if I can make him look good. I have here the different picture. This is the poster of the AXMANIAC, the normal version, which I'll be using as a guide, so I have the correct colors for when I'm going to color. So, okay, I'll just get started. The AXMANIAC is your basic slasher villain. He is pretty modeled after Jason Voorhees. He has the big cool mask, which is a very modified welding mask. It's not really a welding mask, actually. It's more like a faceplate. But I'm going to give him some really big eyes. This is what I usually do. I just make a really rough sketch, and I'm just going to ink over it. If I'm drawing something really difficult, like the hands, I might make a more elaborate sketch when I get to it, but usually I just go for the really rough draft of what I want to do, and then just start making it. Doesn't work for everybody. Some people like to actually really pencil their way to a good drawing, but this is more efficient. Being on a computer, you know, if you don't like the line, you can just remove it. Might do that like a lot. Here we have his skull face, and I'm just gonna draw the stuff. Real big details on my drawing later, but just to get a idea of what I want to do. So let me tell you a little bit about the AXMANIAC comic. I actually wanted to write my own comic, and I really love horror movies. I watched them like, well, since I can remember, I really like them. And I especially like the slasher genre. It's, yeah, I know you got the cool killers, cool looking killers. You got Jason Voorhees, you got Freddy Krueger. It all started, of course, with Michael Myers in the Halloween movies. I really like those. And I like the formula of those movies, but as they got, you know, more and more sequels, they got pretty silly. Like with Nightmare on Elm Street, they got pretty fun. You know, it actually took a really comedic route, and it worked with Freddy Krueger. But you know, Jason had some really goofy sequels. Right? He went to space. He went to New York, which, you know, he didn't really go to New York. He was on a boat, like most of the movie. And so I wanted to make a comic which is back to basics, really. The basic slasher we all love, as I love. So I wrote AXMANIAC. And AXMANIAC is the basic story of like a group of teens. They go to the woods and they get slaughtered one by one. There's more to the story, of course, but that's the gist of it. As you probably can tell, this is my very first stream. I've never done anything like this. I'm not even really sure how Twitch works. And I know the technical aspect of it, but there's a lot I need to do to make my Twitch channel look nice, I think. Or you got subscriptions? I don't even know what those are. So I'm just fooling around here, just to see if I like doing this. And of course to promote my Kickstarter, which is up at the moment, to help fund my comic, AXMANIAC. The book is actually done. All the pages are drawn. I do need to put the book together. Like, you know, the cover is done, but I'll need to make some additional pages. But I'll get that fixed when the Kickstarter is done. That's, you know, like a day's work or something. And so I'm doing the Kickstarter because I need the money to help fund the book, print the book, and send it to people. You know, that costs a lot. Who knew? Sending like books to like the US or the UK, and you know, not cheap. Okay, because kind of lost my train of thought. I was talking about like the AXMANIAC. Well, the AXMANIAC comic, I really like horror, I like slashers, and I actually made a very old, well, it's not very old, it's like 3 years ago. I made a fake comic cover of AXMANIAC, just for the fun of it. And you know, when it was time to write, I wanted to write my own comic book, so I thought, you know, I'm going to write about the AXMANIAC. And making the script, you know, it took me maybe a month to make. I never really made a whole script for a book of what it was supposed to be 22 pages, but it turned out 23 pages. But it was a fun process to actually, you know, write your own comic book. And because I was the artist, I could really visualize the pages as I was writing them. So it was for me very easy to just to write most of it, and then make out all the thumbs of all the pages. So you make these little thumbnail pictures of the panel layout, what the characters will be doing. That was a pretty quick process, actually. Now, if the script's any good, I don't know. Some people have read it, and I heard some positive things about it, so that's good. If it's really good, you know, you just have to find out if you're going to read it yourself. So yeah. You know, you got this little jumpsuit here. Anyway, and so the Kickstarter is because... is the Kickstarter... I'm getting a question on the chat. Is the Kickstarter going well so far? Well, we did have a really good start. It's up at 30% at the moment. I do hope more people will pledge. but I'm working on stuff. There's actually going to be an interview with me on a website, which I of course will post once it's up. And some other websites are also going to review the book during the Kickstarter. So I actually hope they'll like it, because if they're not going to like it, it will reflect badly. But I'm pretty sure people will enjoy it if they like the old slasher movies. As you can see, I'm sort of like avoiding having to draw the hands, because I'm really always having like a lot of difficulty drawing hands. But I'm gonna go for it. Let's just go for it. Draw some hands. Or draw the axe first. I'm gonna draw the axe first. Why not? Axe is pretty easy, Oh, except got the blade, which will be really bloody once I color it. And we're going to do the handle now. I'm going to draw the handle on a separate layer, because I probably need to like cut something away here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun drawing the comic. Actually, it actually took me about 2 months to draw the whole comic. Of course, I didn't like full time. I was drawing in the evenings. I was drawing in the weekends. And because it was a one-man show, I could easily just, if I wanted to color something, I would do that. Or if I wanted to sketch out some pages, I could just jump around. That was really nice to do. Okay, now, so you see I've drawn the hand here. And this is like, why am I also drawing on a computer? It's really easy to just remove this. And remove this. And boom, he's holding the axe. I'm actually totally forgetting he's wearing gloves. As you can see here, he has these big gloves, and I totally forgot about them. But hey, maybe he lost his gloves. Or he forgot them at home. I sometimes forget something at home. Why not him? He's out there killing, and he thinks, oh man, my hands are just freezing. Why didn't I wear gloves? Huh? No. There we go. There's his little thumb. Well, it's starting to look like something. The angle doesn't add up here, by the way. It should not go here. It should go here. There we go. No, let's just do it like this. So, production of the AXMANIAC comic. It took about 2 months from thumbnail to finished page. It was a really fun process. Actually, it went by pretty fast working on it. And now I still need to make the proper book. I'm getting some notifications. It went by pretty fast. It was a lot of fun making the book, and if this Kickstarter is successful, I might make AXMANIAC 2. A good horror movie should have like a sequel. We'll probably not meet AXMANIAC's mom like the trope is. You always see it, like you got this big killer and his abusive mom. And that's really been done. I am really using a lot of those old. Oh, there it is. There's this little thing. So I'm actually using a lot of those old slasher tropes, but some of them are pretty lame. So if I were to do a sequel, I might spice things up a little bit. Of course, change the setting. But actually, if you read the comic, the ending is already pretty. It's a fun twist on the slasher genre. So I have some ideas where I would take like a AXMANIAC 2. I have some ideas about it. Okay, as you can see, I've got some sloppy lines here, but I like that. It gives it a sort of sketchy quality. It doesn't need to be all that tight. See, it's starting to turn into a little AXMANIAC. Okay. Next up, usually what I do is if I draw blood, as you can see here in this poster, it doesn't have any lines, as you can see. Most of it has line art, but the blood doesn't. So what I usually do is to draw the blood and then later remove the lines. But for now, let's not do that. I'll just add the blood later. I'm going to move his breathing holes. So I'm just going to select these and just move them over just a bit, like here. Okay, well, now we have the base figure done. We've got some little details, but now we're going to black things out a little bit. I like doing that. I like to work with some really deep shadows. So, this is going to be black. Here we're going to have some shadow. I like working with hard shadows. It works really well with horror imagery, as some of you might know with the other comic I made called Wart, it has a lot of shadows. As he doesn't wear gloves, he has he doesn't really have healthy skin. AXMANIAC does not take care of himself at all. So I'm gonna, he has some blemishes here, and he has some bad skin. Yeah, I'm just going to continue blocking things out. And as for the Kickstarter, I am going to reveal the cover early next week. It is finished. I am not 100% happy with it, so I might redo some stuff. But I'll be showing it next week, and I'll be spamming it all around the internet. Hopefully people will notice. And I'm really looking forward to actually hearing or reading the reviews people are making for AXMANIAC. Who knows what people will think about it. Because he's a mad killer, he needs a little weird eyes. Doesn't need to be clean. And his mask, it has seen better days. It has all these scratches on it. And maybe we'll cut something out. Here, he has a hole. There we go. So it's not really a welding mask. It's just like a plate of metal, which he smushed against his face, I guess. Oh man, more shadow? Yes, more shadow. I can just easily fill this. Oh, and I'm lost some lines, but you just take a white brush and there they are again. Working on such a small figure, you know, it's a little difficult to add a lot of detail, but you know, as long as you get the picture across that this is an evil looking killer. Maybe he's a Jason fanboy. This is work boots. Maybe you got dirty overalls. I'm walking around in the woods. Now it's raining. All this mud everywhere. It's a mess. No, this is a little bit too much. Here we go. And here we got the base figure of the AXMANIAC. I'm just gonna, you know, it's always fun when you finish a drawing, you just keep on doodling to add some details, but it, you know, you gotta stop sometimes. Or you get these Todd McFarlane drawings, which you can't even tell what it is exactly, and it looks cool, but it's just too much going on. So, here we go. All right, here we got the line art for AXMANIAC. Next up is to give him some color. I can put away the sketch here. I might make that drawing feels a little shorter, doesn't need to be that long. We got our line art. Okay. Next up, we're going to put down some base color. So I got this drawing of the original AXMANIAC, and here we have the base colors of what I use. I usually just, basically just work on base colors, then I add shadows, and then I add some highlights to create some depth. So here we go. Speak the colors. Go to the, actually, well, I'll tell you that in a moment. You'll see what I also do a lot. Now this is the most boring part of drawing for me, and that's flattening out the colors. Selecting, filling it up, and I usually get another brush for it. Now this brush is a lot smoother, as you can see here, which for coloring works a lot better than the very sketchy brush I use for drawing. Now the magic wand tool is, you know, it works, but I'm not a big fan of it. I just need to go slowly and get all the colors. Now as you can see, there's already a gradient in it. That's because I have several textures that I use. Now this is the normal color. Here I'm using a texture which immediately gives the color like some nice depth, and to make it less flat. So I'm just going to when I do this on YouTube, I can speed this part up because, you know, it takes a while. Here Oh, and as you can see, this stays white, so I'll just put the line art layer on multiply, and then only the blacks remain, and the whites get transparent. So that's his suit. Next up, we're going to be coloring the mask. These colors are pretty dark, and they work really well in the comic. So every time the AXMANIAC appears, it's either nighttime or it doesn't really matter that you pick some parts which shouldn't be this color. It's also the beauty of working digitally. You can easily erase mistakes. As you can see, this is the normal color, but with this texture, I'm really liking it. I use this particular texture a lot because it has these really nice purplish tints, but also a lot of orange, which you can't really see yet. You'll maybe see them when I continue coloring. And when you work with comics, you want efficiency. You want to, you got 22 pages to color, so you want to do it quickly, or as quickly as possible. This is his strap. Maybe you should have a strap on his head, but maybe it's stuck to his face. Maybe he can't take it off. That would suck. How does he eat? Does he even need to eat? Maybe he's like an undead, like Jason. I think it was part 6 when he became undead. In part 1 he wasn't even there. Parts 2, 3, and 4 he was just a guy who could really take a beating though. And in part 5 he was a copycat. Fake Jason. Most people regard this movie as really bad, but I actually really like it. It's super sleazy, and they had, I believe, they had this, the director got this order that someone needed to die in the movie every 6 minutes. So when you watch the movie, you'll see tons of people get introduced for no reason, and then they get killed 2 scenes later. It's pretty funny. So if you haven't seen Friday the 13th part 5, which I believe is called A New Beginning, go see it. It's really cool. So here are the skin. I believe I forgot some part here. Okay. Next up, we got some metal part. Here is this zipper. It's barely visible, but you need to put it in there. Next is axe. We got his handle. I know axe really looks like this. This is a murderous fantasy axe or something. I don't know. But if you look at an actual axe, they're really boring. And I like the name AXMANIAC, so that's why I'm kind of stuck to the axe. But that doesn't stop other people from using other weapons. So now I see that I'm just going to turn this off for now. So I think I did something wrong with my settings, which I will fix later. It looks a bit goofy. Well, like next up we have his shoes, which are not pictured on the poster, but they're the same color as the mask. Like, you don't really see them a lot in the pages anyway, so they don't have to be that elaborate. Like, this is the slasher killer who does not run. No, he's a cool cat. He just walks slowly towards his victims, and for some reason he always catches up on them. His eyes, there we go. And here we have the basic flats for the AXMANIAC. Actually going by pretty fast, but that's fine. It's a simple drawing. You know, it's cute and tiny, but it will probably look really nice on Instagram, which I'll post tomorrow or after the stream has ended. So let's add some blood. Gotta have some blood on your serial killer. Here we have the knife, the axe, sorry. And of course he has some on his mask. All that butchering he does, and he never cleans it. You know, you gotta clean your mask once in a while, but no. And because he's a dirty serial killer, he has all the leg running with blood. There we go. Why not add some on his shirt? On his sleeve, I mean. Well, I'm thinking of other stuff and I keep saying the wrong stuff. This is great for a stream probably. Well, he's just messy all over the place, isn't he? Look at that. Okay. Got some blood. Oh, wait, you know what? You know what? I want some blood over here as well. And let's have some running down his way on the ground. And I'm going to remove a little bit of the axe here. That looks better. Now he looks, of course, really flat because there's no shading or highlights, but we're going to fix that. First I'm going to do the eyes. Oh, wrong layer. There we go. This time will look a little bit more deranged. Now, let's start to shade him. Usually I go by color, pick a darker color, and shade like this, or I use like an overlay channel, but for now I'm just going to use like full black and just put like the opacity a little less. So I'll show you what I mean. Like we're going to shade his axe handle. This looks really weird. Bear with me. There we go. Now if I put the opacity down, boom, we got some shading going on. You can just alternate, like you want some heavy shading or some lighter shading. Now this tends to be a little bit boring. That's where the texture will come in, which I'll show you in a moment. For now, we're just going to add some shading to his hands and suit. Not too much, because the suit is already pretty dark and has a lot of really hard shadows, but just to add just a little bit of shading here. That's the fun of working with a really tiny character like this. Like, you don't have any room to do anything, but darn it if they don't look super cute. Those chibi characters. I actually drawn a couple of them. They're up on my Instagram. I drew a Luke Skywalker, Starscream, and some other. I drew Ward, a couple of characters from Ward, and Ghost Rider, which was really cool. You know, he had his little bike. Still looked pretty demonic in a cute way. Oh, I forgot some. I'll fix that later. He has some dirt on his helm, on his mask, and on his suit, which I still need to do. But again, that's the beauty of working digitally. You can just, I'm really forgetful, so I can just go in and fix it later. When shading and highlighting, I usually just use a brush instead of going with the magic wand, because this goes so much faster. But the magic wand is really great if you want to flat all your colors down. Got that here. Yes, there's some hair left. You know, something happened to him. But what? You have to read the comic to find out. I'm actually really happy with how the comic turned out. It's basically, you know, a slasher movie condensed into 23 pages. That does mean that, you know, it's sort of, it's pretty fast paced. Because I wanted to hit all the beats of a conventional slasher movie, and because of the art style, I think it looks pretty fresh, but you know, you just have to find out for yourselves. Okay, see, it has a little bit more depth. If you remove the shading, you can see it looks a lot better. Next up, we're going, oh yeah, I was going to smudge his mask a bit with some mud. So we'll need some brown, some dark brown. Oh wait, this actually goes, yeah, I first should have done this and then the bloods, but you know, I didn't do that. It's all in the same layer. It's my own fault. But again, working on the computer, I can easily fix that. Go back to the red color and just great, I've decided to do a stream and suddenly everybody wants to talk to me. But I'm afraid they'll have to wait until I'm done drawing this really silly AXMANIAC. I don't like him though. For next stream I might draw one of the victims of the AXMANIAC in the comic, or draw something else entirely. Maybe like a Freddy Krueger, that might also be fun. Okay, let's add a little bit more blood. There we go. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty dirty. Next up, we're going to highlight. So I'm going to use some white color. Put the layer on lower opacity so it becomes transparent. And we'll see what that looks like. That is way too much. So we're going to make it a little bit more darker like this. Now this is a very simple way of coloring a comic or comic character, but it works for me. Some people actually do a lot more digital painting, which of course looks great, but I tend to just stick to this. It suits my style, and especially when you're making a comic, you got 22 pages to finish. You don't want to spend an eternity on it. It's great to just have a coloring style which works like this, really. And if you really like, you've got a cool splash page, or you got something cool you really want to spend some time on, you can do some digital painting. You can put different layers of colors to make it look even better. Because of the noise I'm making now, I'm sitting here with the door closed and the windows closed, so it is getting really warm in here. Chose a perfect day to do my first stream. I'm going light here on the highlighting. I usually do that. I like to keep my drawings dark. Got the mask. Now the mask actually, well, you got a lot of skull-faced serial killers nowadays. Maybe the most well-known, well, it's probably not super known, but you got this really cool game called Sleepaway Camp. No, you got Slayaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp is a really old slasher movie, which also has a skull-faced killer. But that's basically like a huge cube which represents the skull. But it's a really fun game if you like slashers and you like puzzle games. I'm really bad at it because I really can't play games that well. I used to a long time ago. I don't really like this one. I think I'm going to leave the highlights of his flesh. Maybe a little one. There we go. If you hear some snoring in the background, there's a huge cat lying on the floor here. He fell asleep listening to me probably. And here we go. Got some highlights. We got a dirty looking mask. It is pretty dark, so we're gonna, let's see, what can we do for the background? What would be fun to do? For these little characters, I usually like put a circle under them just to give them a little bit of fun background. Let's see what that does. I have no idea. Okay, that's a white one. That doesn't really work. But if I pick a color like this, you can see I didn't draw in the lines. I'm getting some feedback here, which is great. So, ooh, I've been a sloppy colorist, as you can see. Easily fixed. All right. This looks pretty fun. We can, no, this does not, you can like put like this little puddle. Oh, wait. So if you are curious to look at my Kickstarter, be sure to, if you look at my channel, beneath the actual stream, there's a picture of the AXMANIAC Now Live Kickstarter. If you click on it, it goes directly to the Kickstarter. So I definitely just look at what I have to offer. It actually have a really fun backer reward where I will draw you being killed by the AXMANIAC in full color. And you'll get the actual book if it's printed. So that's, you know, that's pretty fun. I also have quite a collection of art cards which I made. They're like A4 sized. We got some Batman ones. We got some different fan art, but also some original art is in there. So be sure to check that out. I'm going to sign this drawing, which I do when I'm done. And the year, so I don't forget later on which year I drew this. I don't forget what. And here we have Little AXMANIAC, which I will be posting on Instagram tonight because of the Kickstarter. If you have any suggestions for what I should do and should not do in a stream, because I did not really prepare, to be honest. I just went in here just to try something out. I rarely watch other streams, so I have no idea what other artists do. So I might check that out. But if you have any suggestions for me, just let me know. I'm always open to feedback. Visit my Kickstarter because the book is really fun. If you're into goofy horror, you should definitely check it out. And I will be back with another stream where I will be drawing something else, or I might be working on an actual comic. I'm doing a lot of projects at the moment, so I might alternate it on what I will be working on, or if you have any suggestions what I should be drawing, let me know. So this is it for today. My first stream. I thought it was pretty funny. Next time, I would not mind to get some questions in the chat room for me to talk about, because I just kept rambling on about my comic, but I can't do that every stream, of course. So thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.